It wasn't always like this. I am barely a shadow of my former self. I used to be just plain old Jason Brown, a happy-go-lucky guy that liked to have a flutter on a horse, go down the pub, have a pint with my girlfriend. But that all stopped a long time ago now. In reality, it was just weeks, but it seems like years. Why am I obsessed about a guy born in 1809 and who died in 1849? Normally, I'd never entertain the idea of conspiracies. What with all the ridiculous rubbish online about the US government controlling the weather globally, etc.? What next? Wear a tinfoil hat so the secret thought police won't be able to know what we are thinking? I still wouldn't give a toss about conspiracies, only for one eating away at me. Is Edgar Allan Poe a time traveler? I can't even remember how I came across it first, but not an hour passes in the day where I don't check a blog called Edgars Travels. It's run by a guy called Peter Harris. He lives in London, England. I live in Cork, Ireland. And wait for this, I emailed the guy and organised to meet him next week in Piccadilly Circus. My flights are booked with Aer Lingus and all. My girlfriend Sarah Wilson thinks I'm crazy. Here I am in my apartment, listening to her rant again. Geez, babe, you're really taking this time travel a bit far. Why the hell do you want to fly to London to meet some conspiracy theory bloke who more than likely could be a lunatic? I replied defensively, I just need to speak to him. I am trusting my instincts. This is the right thing to do. You always say it's better to trust your instincts and go with them. Sarah rolls her eyes. Yeah, but flying to another country to meet a guy, to talk about a time travel blog seems a bit pointless, don't you think? I mean, seriously, you took time off work for this. I enjoy my job working in a phone shop, even though I'm sure the customers know something is bothering me. I miss parts of time too. It's weird to describe, but I just feel like I snap out of something and look at my watch and notice minutes have gone. Sometimes a whole hour that I can't recall what I did. It's like I fell asleep or had a blackout. It's crazy. Sometimes when I snap out of it, I'm sweating and my heart is racing. The thing is, it only happens when I'm alone. I feel I'm going crazy, but I know it's all over Edgar Allan bloody Poe. If I could get that damn name out of my head, maybe I could go back to normal, the way it was before. Sarah reminds me enough that I'm losing it. A few days later, I was in London after a hectic plane journey. Nothing to do with pockets or turbulence, nope. Just the same obsession of finding out, is Edgar Allan Poe really a time traveller? Peter Harris promised me he has the answer and the key to why I'm feeling the way I do. What does he mean? I know I am the one who emailed him, but why is he so interested in telling me why I feel how I do? More importantly, how the hell does he know? I'm in Piccadilly now and spotted him straight away. He's right beside the top step of the Piccadilly tube station entrance, as planned. I hadn't a blackout since I left, but then again, I wasn't alone. He looked exactly like he did in his blog's homepage photo. He had scraggy blonde hair down to his shoulders as if it wasn't combed in a week. He had stubble and a hat like Laurel Hardy would wear. His hand reached out to me and I shook it, which was sweaty and clammy. Great to finally meet you, Jason. I have so much to tell you. I hoped the trip would be worth it. It's great to meet you too, Peter. I love your blog, by the way. He winked. Nice to hear. It took us just 10 minutes to get back to his flat in Tottenham after travelling by tube. It was around 8 at night when we got back, and we spent about an hour speaking about why we think Edgar Allan Poe is a time traveller. The usual stuff. In the midst of all of Poe's poems and short stories, he only ever wrote one novel, which was the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. It was a story of a shipwreck, which told an inventive account of a real shipwreck that happened 46 years after the book's publication in 1838. The survivors had to pull a straw to elect who would be killed and eaten. In 1884, the survivors also resorted to cannibalism. Both boys in the story and real-life shipwreck in 1884 were called Richard Parker. I went to sleep early, disappointed that there were no real results, after being promised I would be told exactly why I was feeling how I was. I couldn't sleep for hours, but finally I gave in and fell asleep. I heard a shout, jumped up in the bed. Everything was blurry. I rubbed my eyes. What the hell is going on? My vision cleared and I could see Peter over my bed screaming like a madman. Sarah's voice came back to me. He could be a lunatic. Peter was shouting, "Oh my God, it all makes sense. I knew. I knew it." I pulled the clothes off me and sat on the bed in my pajamas, bottom and t-shirt. "What the hell do you know, man?" Peter had a laptop under his arm and put it on the bed next to me. Sweat was pouring from him and he was speaking erratically. "Just watch this." He maximized the screen and there was a black screen with a play icon. He pressed play and said in a way like he had just made a very important discovery, "Just watch this." I watched, trying to make out an image in green. Then I realized it was me asleep being recorded on a night vision camera. Sarah's word lunatic entered my mind again. I kept watching the screen and shouted, "What the hell did you film me sleeping for?" "Shh, just watch." I was shocked at what I saw next. I pulled the clothes off me and walked over to switch the light on. I opened my bag, which was next to me on the bed, and pulled out a notebook. I picked a pen out from the middle of it and started writing frantically. I was writing like I had to get every last word out of me to survive. The light was on now, so I could make out clearly on the HD camera I was perspiring enough to drip down onto the page. My hand was like it was moving itself. I was writing so fast. Then about 2 minutes later, I stopped. I gently put the notebook under the bed and walked over, put off the light and went back to bed. Of course, I can't remember doing any of it. Peter paused the video. I knew he was thinking the same thing as me. What was I writing? And before I could ask, he bent down and fetched my notebook from under the bed. He smiled at me excitedly. "It looks like we've discovered what you've been doing during your blackouts." I smiled back, still in a daze with what was happening. He laid the notebook on the bed. We both stared at it, knowing that the secrets of why I felt so passionately about Edgar Allan Poe must be written in that book. I had a feeling. I let Peter open the book, afraid that I'd jinx it opening it myself. My heart sank when he opened it to a blank page. Then finally, after turning the fourth page, there was writing written in like what you'd see years ago on scrolls. 19th century handwriting. We read the words, "I, Edgar, thou shalt not rest, for what was done to me by Rufus Wilmot Griswold. My friends Sarah Helen Whitman, Charles Frederick Briggs, and George Rex Graham denounced those wrongful depictions. I herefore will travel through time, through Rufus Wilmot Griswold's bloodline, and keep my creative genius alive through time, space, and words on paper. Edgar Allan Poe, Tuesday, 19th of February, 2017. There was silence in the room as I read the words written in 19th century handwriting. Written by me, but signed Edgar Allan Poe. I felt something different inside, some peace that I never felt before. Peter looked at me. "Oh my God, do you realize that this proves I'm right? Edgar Allan Poe is a time traveler." I looked at the writing again, as if it would be gone or I would wake up from a weird dream. A week later, me and Sarah were getting on much better. It was almost like back to normal. Sarah shouted, "Jace, there's mail for you!" I dropped the coffee cup onto the kitchen table and got up from my chair fast and walked out to the hall, taking the letter. Cheers. I went back into the kitchen and sat down. This was it. I knew it, as if I had X-ray vision and could see inside the envelope. I stuck my finger under the side, ripping it, and pulling the page out as fast as I could, and opened it. My eyes grew large and my heart started thumping in my chest as I read through the genealogist's results. I didn't want to do it myself, so got an expert in the field. I scrolled down the page and read my parents' names and my other family members. Then down halfway through the page, it stared up at me. My great-great-grandfather, Rufus Wilmot Griswold, February 13th, 1815, August 1857.